2024 Toyota Tacoma First Drive, Taco Bout and Upgrade. The new Tacoma is a massively improved pickup that doesn't lose its essential trucky character. Truck owners love their trucks, but Toyota Tacoma owners love their trucks. Sure, part of the Tacoma's market dominance over the past 2 decades has been the result of often underwhelming and at times almost non-existent competition. But the unbridled affection and loyalty those owners have had for their tacos has largely kept even today's modern and worthy mid-size truck competitors from winning them over. That love has been tested in recent years, though. There was a lot of pressure to get the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma right, and Toyota didn't blink. The outgoing Tacoma was an update of an update of an update. Improvements were often iterations more than overhauls, and even big changes didn't necessarily vault the truck to the top of the class. While the outgoing Toyota truck was highly competitive on paper, in practice its cramped cabin, ineffectual transmission, and outdated tech made for tough compromises in the face of newer and fresher competition if you weren't already a Tacoma loyalist. This review covers only models fitted with the base iforce powertrain, which is available for 6 of the 8 2024 Tacoma trim levels. Consisting of a new turbocharged 2.4-liter 4-cylinder matched to either a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic transmission, it's the standard powertrain for all but the most rugged and expensive Trail Hunter and TRD Pro models. Those trucks get a hybridized version of the same engine with much more power and the 8-speed automatic only, and Toyota has decided to launch them later. Stand by for a review of those models sometime in the new year. You don't need to know anything about those high-end models, however, to understand how massive an improvement the new Taco is. Just getting into it will clue you in, and the first 100 feet of driving will tell you the rest. Inside and out, the Tacoma looks like it's been infused with a heavy dose of tundra. The exterior features numerous cues from the bigger truck, while the interior looks like a scaled-down version. It's a huge leap forward over the old model and finally looks contemporary while retaining big, user-friendly hard controls. The screens finally run modern software and come in modern sizes, and you can build in all the modern conveniences you could want, everything from wireless phone charging to CarPlay and Android Auto to 120-volt outlets in the cabin bed. Above all else, you'll immediately notice you're not sitting on the floor. Toyota has finally fixed the Tacoma seats. The front seats are now at a normal height off the floor and yet still leave you with plenty of headroom, so you don't bonk your head when you lean forward to look over the hood at obstacles off-road. The rear seats have also been redone and now fold up, instead of forward, to reveal storage underneath or fold down to create a flat load shelf. The rear seats have even been reclined ever so slightly, and that alone makes them more comfortable than the old bolt-upright rear seats. All this assumes you even get rear seats. Toyota is one of the last automakers to offer an extended cab, extra cabin Toyota speak, in the midsize truck segment if you never need to move more than 2 people at a time. The shorter cab ditches the rear seats for a large storage space behind the front row, which is accessed by folding the front seats forward. Back up front, the new center console is something of a compromise. There's less storage space than before, but it's offset by a new shelf on the passenger side of the dashboard. The console itself is also quite wide and gives front-row passengers the cozy feel of being in a sports car rather than the wide-open feeling of being in a traditional truck. Think cockpit, not bench seat. Put either transmission in gear and get rolling, and you'll instantly recognize the other great advances this truck makes. The new engine, regardless of transmission, delivers the kind of low and mid-range torque the earlier truck lacked. The new Taco is far livelier off the line and accelerating in gear than the old V6 version, and the new engine never feels stressed putting in the work. With 278 horsepower and 317 pounds-to-foot of torque, it doesn't sound much better than the old V6, but behind the wheel it absolutely is. Although it feels weird to say in the context of a truck, it's even better in Sport S-Drive mode. The default tuning with either transmission, but especially the manual, which makes slightly less power, 270 horsepower, and torque, 310 pounds-to-foot dulls the throttle response too much and makes the new Tacoma less engaging to drive. Switch it over to Sport S, no need to go to Sport S Plus on the automatic, it's a full sports car mode that's too aggressive and feels out of place in a pickup, and the truck comes alive. This is especially the case in the base SR trim, whose version of engine is derated by 50 horsepower and 74 pounds-to-foot like any modern manual. The Taco does have rev hang when you shift, it's an emissions thing. The good news is the shift throws are so long that by the time you get it in the next gear and are ready to release the clutch, the hang has ended and the revs are starting to fall. It's far easier to drive around than a sporty car with a short throw shifter. You're just never trying to shift a truck that quickly. The clutch also has a rather high engagement point, but you adapt to it. The new 8-speed automatic is a huge improvement over the old 6-speed unit, which never felt like it really understood the assignment, especially off-road. Both the gearing and the programming of the 8-speed are a far better match for the power delivery and intended performance of a pickup truck. Even when it goes straight for the high gears, you can rely on the turbo to supply the power you need, and you get to listen to it spool up, too. Regardless of transmission, the Taco's powertrain finally feels like a fully integrated unit that not only accelerates quicker but drives better on road and off. That it gets notably better fuel economy even without the hybrid system is like a second dessert. Going the other way, we're happy to report the upgraded brakes are no longer super touchy but respond with the proportionality we want. In a surprising and unusual twist, Toyota is offering the new Taco with 2 different rear suspension systems. The default on lower trims is a set of leaf springs you've known forever, but you can also opt for coil springs and a multi-link setup, which comes standard on mid-grade and higher trims. On the top limited trim, you can even fit active dampers. There's no difference in payload or towing capacity between the 2 rear suspension options, so your choice will come down to what you intend to do with the truck and, presumably, how much you're willing to spend. Toyota hasn't said yet, but we expect the coil springs to cost extra on trims that offer both options. Unless you're on a budget or the cost is astronomical, we suggest you go for the coils. The leaf springs make the new Tacoma ride just like the old Tacoma. It's very trucky, if you're into that. The coils, though, are a revelation. The ride is far less busy and more akin to what top competitors like the Chevrolet Colorado and Honda Ridgeline have been offering for a while now. It's still more traditionally truck-like than those vehicles, though, keeping some of that old Tacoma character that has served the brand so well, with a stiffer ride and a bit more body roll than you find in the competition, but it's oddly endearing. Exactly what you'll get in terms of ride and handling depends heavily on which trim you choose. The TRD Sport shocks are tuned for on-road performance, while each off-road trim gets a different brand of shock absorber. On the road, we didn't notice a big difference between the way a TRD Sport and a Limited with normal shocks rode, and we liked both. The adaptive dampers weren't available to sample. The steering is quicker and more direct than we recall, lending it a bit more of an SUV demeanor along the lines of the Chevy and Honda, though Toyota didn't take it as far. When we had a chance to leave the pavement, we found more than ever to love about the TRD off-road model. Its Bilstein monotube shocks took hits well for an entry-level off-road package, and the rear coil spring still allowed for plenty of articulation over offset obstacles. With the automatic transmission we ran the freshman-level off-road course in 4 high with no trouble and no assistance from the myriad available aids. The manual has less effective gearing than the auto, but it's a problem you can easily solve with throttle. Even when it feels like the engine is starting to lug, you can just drop the hammer, wait a beat for the turbo to spool, and it'll pull itself through without having to go to low gears. That Toyota continues to offer a no-clutch start feature to get you moving without rollback is a delightful bonus. That's all before you load it up with electronic tools. The electronically locking rear differential is standard, and we'd suggest you pop for the electronically disconnecting front anti-roll bar and 33-inch tires, too, if you're planning to do real off-roading. Unlocking the front end alone is a huge help and greatly improves ride comfort on the big stuff. From there, the multi-terrain system and crawl control are great tools for beginners and experienced folks looking to traverse obstacles the easiest way possible, but they're not necessary for serious off-roaders. Drivers of all skill levels will benefit from the available exterior camera system, especially as the long, flat head makes it hard to see obstacles right in front of the truck. We're disappointed the Land Cruiser's turn assist feature isn't available, but it's only a matter of programming if Toyota changes its mind. Hopefully, it'll show up on the Trailhunter and TRD Pro, but for now we're pretty damn happy with how capable the entry-level off-roader is. The pre-runner model is technically an off-roader, too, but it's rear-wheel drive only and limited in its capabilities. As you'd expect, the off-road models do away with the massive air dam that comes standard on street-focused models. Ditching it and fitting knobby off-road tires drops your fuel economy by 1 mile per gallon across the board. It's worth it just to not look at that thing. Should you wish to improve the look of your Tacoma SR, SR5, TRD Sport, or Limited, we're thrilled to report that it's held on by 11 Phillips head screws that are easy to reach, unlike the ones on the Chevrolet Colorado's supposedly easy to remove air dam. Buttons in the taillights. Yes, that's supposed to be plural. Unlike the Tundra, the Taco gets buttons on the sides of both taillights, not just one. They can always be used to drop the gate, but spring for the new power tailgate, and they'll also raise it. Or you can just give the open gate a bump up with your knee, and it'll get the hint and close itself. Not necessary, but handy. As we mentioned earlier, we're happy to report there's more power in the bed than ever. A 400-watt 120-volt outlet is available, as are 12-volt power ports. Hybrid models will come standard with a 2.4-kilowatt 120-volt outlet to power more serious equipment. You can keep an eye on that equipment with an optional bed-facing camera, while the optional video rear-view mirror can look over taller objects in the bed that block the rear window. A wireless trailer camera is also available, but we haven't tried it out yet. Between all the improvements to the new Tacoma and the ever-increasing cost of all new vehicles, it's no surprise the new truck is more expensive. That old advertised $28,600 starting price, $30,095 after destination, is gone. The new truck starts at $32,995 including destination, but that's not the worst of it. The higher you go, the bigger the price increases. Whereas the TRD Off-Road used to start at $38,285, it's now $43,295. The Limited, which used to start at $42,850, now goes for a whopping $53,595. Pricing on the Trailhunter and TRD Pro haven't been announced yet, but since the old TRD Pro was the most expensive model, you can bet neither will start below $50,000. History has shown the Tacoma has never needed to have or be the best of anything to dominate the mid-size truck market, but with the competition only getting stronger, Toyota rightly decided to stop resting on its laurels and build a truck that makes no apologies or excuses. Critically, the team behind the Taco kept a healthy dose of that trucky character that made it feel a bit tougher, a bit rougher, and a bit more rugged than the competition. In doing so, it built a truck that'll attract new interest without alienating the loyal fans, and that ain't easy. It's just too bad about the massive price hikes on the most desirable models.